Hey, everybody, it's Tony George. We're talking Pac-12 football and USC football with the former Trojan himself, Sean Salisbury. And Sean, as I take a look at, and they're taking on San Jose State laying 14, which in a usual season, this would be about a 31-point spread. But San Jose State coming off a magical year last year, Mountain West champions, bringing back, well, 20 starters basically from that team. But at the end of the day, let's talk USC football here real quick, Sean, because you are a ex-USC Trojan. As I take a look at the landscape in the Pac-12, Sean, one word comes to mind, and I want to get your reaction, and that word is parity this year.
Oh, there's no question. For USC, the advantage for them this year, Tony, is they don't play Oregon or Washington, which is huge. I mean, those are the two favorites in the North. Now, you'll always have to deal with the physicality of Utah. And in this game in particular itself, San Jose State, you mentioned all the starters. They are really physical up front. Now, Pac-12 shouldn't have to bow down to a Mountain West team, but you know what? San Jose State they can compete with anybody, not only in their conference, as was proven, but this is one of those. There's a lot of teams in the Pac-12 this week that have games like this against teams they're supposed to beat. If I was San Jose State or one of those teams, I'd want to get like a Fresno State, San Jose State. I'd want to get teams like this early because you never know how they're going to come out, right? Clay Helton is on a semi-hot seat. Now, if they lose this game, it'll be steaming hot, right? Every year it seemed to say this. And the San Jose State, also Nick Starkel, who's on his third university, started at Texas A&M, big, strong, physical kid who can rip it, and his line's good. If you hit him early, you may get some turnovers, but if you let them hang around, San Jose State can get you. And I don't know how we'll pick this spread in a second, but this is a danger game that USC cannot afford to come out and flounder around and screw around till the middle of the third quarter. The SC, we know they'll have some physicality, but you know what, Tony, what's been concerning of mine, when you and I were growing up, whether you're Nebraska Cornhuskers, the Remingtons, the Dean Steinkuhlers, physical, wear you out. Same with SC, from Bruce Matthews and Mosbar and Roy Foster and Anthony Munoz. SC alums still think we're a physical team, yet they are a finesse team that likes to throw it and tries to mix in being physical. And that's hard to turn on and off. They've got to be more physical in the front seven and on the offensive line. So they've got a quarterback who's a Heisman candidate. Keaton Slovis is extremely accurate. They've got perimeter players that can go. They'll have that with their recruits. But I've got to see them play 4 quarters on a consistent basis regularly to be that team. UCLA is not going to be easy. But this San Jose State game, I'm just telling you, man, San Jose State's dangerous. But you better hit the quarterback early, and USC better score early, or you'll start to look around saying, here we go again. But the USC football team recruits, I think they're going to be fine in this one, and they're going to be the favorite in the South this year. But San Jose State, if they come out fast, you start to watch USC's players and their head on a swivel and start to look around like, ooh, we're going to be in one of those. So they better get after it, defensive front seven, and keep an eye on the big play after the catch because Keaton Slovis is accurate with the football.
67% last year on a shortened schedule, 7 picks, which is concerning. And you said something, and I want to get your feedback because I know you're close to this program, Sean.
Yep.
You said something there that just popped up in my mind. Sometimes they want to do this, and sometimes they want to do that. Under Clay Helton, I can't see where USC has really found an identity. I don't know if they know what they want to be. Now we know what Chip Kelly has implemented at UCLA. It's been kind of a failure until this point. Now he has his players, but Chip Kelly's team is going to be what Chip Kelly wants it to be. They have an identity, good, bad, or indifferent. Oregon has an identity. Washington, even though they have a new coach, still has that identity. Utah has that tough nose. We're going to smack you in the mouth, almost like a Big Ten attitude out of Utah. USC under Clay Helton can't find an identity in my mind, Sean, which is why they've been inconsistent in my mind. Your thoughts on that comment?
It's a great point. And it's something that's been that you talk to former players that played throughout it. You'll sit in a round table with them, and that's exactly the problem. We have this thing. I know that football's changed and evolved over the years, but when you get right down to it, Tony, what does a team like Alabama? I'll tell you what SC is. Alabama is what SC used to be back in the day. They throw it more, but I'm talking about physicality, recruits, knowing the identity. And now it's flip-flop. Alabama is who they are, and USC now wants to be Alabama, right? They want the Sarkisian, even though he's at Texas now, he was there last. Throw it around, but be able to, and in the fourth quarter when we got you, is to wear your ass out and beat you down. And you're exactly right. I feel like one year you'll hire one guy and Clay's, okay, we're going to run it and be physical here. But maybe that's not the idea. And then in the middle of the second quarter, if it's not working, then you become pass happy. I like Clay Helton. He's a good guy. He does just enough each year to get by, but that's not going to continue to be good enough. Right. And so the identity, well, Graham Harrell's a hell of an offensive coordinator. So if you want physicality, that's not going to be the case. They're going to spread it out, and he's going to go Big 12 on you and mix it around and throw it, and they've got a quarterback to do it. But until you locate an idea, every good team in the country has one. And right now we got all the recruits, but where are we? Are we one foot on the left side of physicality and the other foot on the finesse side, trying to figure it out? And until we do, we're not going to be a national championship threat. And there's no better time than now with the schedule for them to roll. They're going to get Notre Dame, which new quarterback, they're going to be different this year, but still pretty good. And then you've got UCLA, which they normally will beat, but Chip Kelly will have them going, and they'll see their test against LSU this week, as we've discussed. So I'm really looking forward to see how quickly SC can set the identity. That's a great point by you. And until we do, we will still be a team that's grab bag and trying to figure it out. Good players, but I'm not sure we're maximizing what we do. And San Jose State may not be the best test, but it's a damn good test early on for a team that's not supposed to beat us with, what, a 14-point spread. I'm going to give that. And I know, Tony, you know where I lose most of my money in college football betting is on my alma mater, which is so stupid. Quit betting them. Over the last 5 years, I bet them, and they never cover. Or if I take an over, it's always under. If I take the under, it's always over. And if I pick a point spread, they never cover it. So I'm not going to bet this game, but if I was, I'm going to assume SC understands the sense of urgency. Defense gets a few turnovers early, I'll go. But that is the number one point on this video today. Identity for the Trojans, they ain't got it. And UNI's programs, Nebraska and SC, while we're better, we're going through a similar thing, trying to find the identity of old and mix it in with the spread offense. Hard to do, but must be done.
Well, one thing that Scott Frost established in Nebraska is as our identity. We give games away, we turn the ball over, and we make stupid penalties. And that's been consistent for 4 years. I can tell you that.
There you go, brother.
So that's our identity. Sean's willing to lay the 14 here. I think this is an awfully tough game. I wish this was under the number of 14, simply because this San Jose State team, and while we've been talking a lot about Southern Cal, let's tip our hat to San Jose State and the job they've done there, because this was a bottom feeder 4 or 5 years ago. And they've turned this thing around. Keep your eye on that Derek Deese Jr. tight end for them, by the way. This kid is going to the NFL. He is a stud and big, 6'7", and he's got athletic skills. Their defense last year, Sean, was ranked 15th nationally, and they're bringing them all back. And so I think in this game, I like the under 59.5. I think that SC will force some turnovers. The last time we saw this quarterback everybody's bragging about, when they went 7-0 during the regular season, bear in mind, he threw 4 picks against Ball State and got beat in a bowl game. And I think SC can force some turnovers, and I think this is a stiff test out of the gate for a team that is better, with better athletes across the board. But if you don't bring your A game here, you're sure as hell not going to cover 14. And I think that San Jose State will play to their defense here. I like the under 59.5. Sean's leaning a little bit towards his Trojans. That's it, folks. We got all kinds of football for you over there at DocSports.com this weekend. Take advantage of that free $60 link in the description below. And my good friend Sean Salisbury has the best sports talk show in the country on iHeartRadio with the Sean Salisbury Show. You better tune in. He's got big-time guests on there each and every day. Does a hell of a job. And follow him on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Thanks for tuning in.